So, hello and welcome to another video, guys. Now, I'm sure this is going to be a really long video, so I'm going to try and keep it as short as I can. For those of you who are just stopping by now at the start, just see what it's all about, I'll quickly give you a heads up. I am going to do just a top 10 movies of 2019 for those who don't want to sit through this entire video, but I like doing this because whenever I've done a top 10 video in the past, I've always had people say, well, where was this film? Where was that? So I've managed to see 100 films this year, which is crazy. So I thought I'd just rank all of them, because then you guys can see where all these films lay. There are still going to be a few films I missed off. I'll give you a heads up. I haven't seen Frozen 2 yet. That's a big one. I haven't seen Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. I haven't seen 1917 yet, because it's technically a 2020 film here in the UK. But I'm still going to count it as a 2019 film, and unfortunately just haven't got around to seeing it in time for this list. So there are going to be a few films missed off. Of course, there are going to be some films on here which some people are going to scratch their head about. So there's going to be some films, for example, one film that's going to be on this list is Unicorn Store, which is a film that was shown at a film premiere, or a film festival, sorry, in 2017. So it's marked up as a 2017 film, but it wasn't released to the public until 2019 on Netflix. So I am counting that because there was no way that the public could view it until this year, so I count it as a 2019 release. So there's going to be a few films like that where they were shown at film festivals and stuff earlier on in the year, or a few years ago, but they only got released to the public this year, so I'm counting them films as well. And of course, at the end of the day, guys, this is just my opinion. There are going to be films low on this list that people are going to love. There's going to be films high on this list which people are going to hate. And that's the cool thing. It's all about opinions, blah, 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 blah. I'd love to know your guys' favourite films down in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. Some of your favourites, some of your least favourites. Maybe save the favourites for when I just do the top 10. Maybe let's just talk about some of the bad ones down in the comments below, because that's always fun. Also, before we get started, I'm going to do a quick announcement here. Me and my very good friend are about to start up a movie podcast on Spotify. I've bought loads of proper equipment for it, proper mics and stuff. We're aiming to do it hopefully around the end of the month, I'm thinking. We haven't got a name yet. We haven't even set up the Spotify account. All I can tell you is it's coming. We bought the equipment. We've been talking about doing it for ages. We're finally going to do it. So it's coming. I will do a video advertising it when we're much nearer to releasing our first set of podcasts. We're going to do them weekly. So, yeah. There we go, there's that. But anyway, should we get started with the list now? I've made loads of notes. If you see me keep looking over here, that's because, yeah, I've had to be a bit prepared for 100 films. I'll apologise if I mess anything up in advance, say someone's name. You know, it's probably going to happen. We're going to talk about 100 films here, guys. But let's get started. Coming in at number 100, the worst film I saw in 2019, and without a doubt, one of the most boring movies I've ever had to put myself through. So that's right, coming in dead last is I.O. I'm sure half of you out there haven't even heard it. It was a quiet release for Netflix. I really wanted to watch it. Really only has 2 actors in it. Margaret Qualley, I believe her name is, who people will know from Nice Guys, and she was also in another film this year, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which we'll get to. And Anthony Mackie, of course, most famous for playing Falcon in the Avengers. Really like both these actors. I really wanted to watch it. It was science fiction, kind of this post-apocalyptic world. And the worst thing about this film is it's like an hour and 40. It could honestly have been done in 5 to 10 minutes. It is so dull, so boring. And I think that's one of the worst things a film can do. In terms of a film that's on its own, the worst thing it can do is be boring. If a film's bad and it's funny, I'd rather watch a film that's so bad it's funny than a film that's so bad it's just dead boring. So for me, I.O.'s coming in last. It is without a doubt the most boring film I think I might have ever seen. So this one you have to take with a bit of pinch of salt. When I was watching this, Netflix were ramming this down everyone's throat on release date. It was like, look at our new film. So I put this on, Rim of the World, and I get that this one's for kids, but I feel like even kids are probably going to go, really? This is just bad. It's almost like someone had a script for a kids film, but they wanted to make like a Michael Bay type film. Because some of the things that these kids are doing and coming out with, it's like, I'm not quite sure about this. This doesn't feel right. This feels awkward and weird, and I don't like it. And on top of that, the story is absolute garbage. As I say, it's a kids film, but it's still garbage. And the effects, they made it look a lot better in the trailer. So yeah, I was disappointed by the effects because they were also really bad. '98 is Cats. Yes, I love Cats. I love talking about this. But it's '98. Yeah, the film sucks. It is as bad as people were saying. It was just embarrassing. I had no idea what was going on half the time. The visuals were just terrifying, haunting to look at. Like, they were so off-putting, these cats, what they'd done to these poor actors. And just nothing made sense. Nothing made sense. Nothing was explained. I remember just sitting down, things just started happening, and then it was the end of the film, and I was like, I don't understand any of it. I don't get why any of that happened. Why was Idris Elba vanishing? And the fact that some of the CGI weren't finished, like on Judi Dench's hand. Idris Elba was walking around butt naked at one point. There's a scene with Rebel Wilson and some mini cockroaches that was hilariously bad. This film is terrible, but it is so bad, it is kind of funny. Wine Country is a little comedy film which was released on Netflix. And this one stars Amy Poehler and some of her friends. Amy Poehler is very much the female Adam Sandler, I kind of look at it. Everything she kind of does movie-wise is just, it's real throwaway stuff. And this one, as I say, I'm not trying to insult Adam Sandler here, because we're going to get to Adam Sandler in a bit. I didn't laugh once in this film. That's the thing. This is a comedy film, and I'm watching it. I didn't laugh once. And the worst thing is, you're following this group. I think there was 7 female actresses here that you're following. None of them learn from their mistakes throughout the film, and at the end, none of the characters have changed or developed. It's just a bad film, and I didn't laugh once. So, real good comedy film. Okay, so 96 is The Silence. So this is a film which is actually, it was a book originally, so people can't say, oh, it's copying A Quiet Place or it's copying Bird Box, because it's not. It is one of those films where you've got to be dead quiet because there's killer birds about. And this is a film which I was really interested in. It stars, I'm doing this one off the top of my head, I didn't make notes for this one, Stanley Tucci and Kieran Shipka, I think that's her name, Kieran Shipka. Sabrina, the Teenage Witch. I really like both those actors. I was really, really excited to see this film. I thought it had a cool concept. And the acting was terrible, other than Kieran Shipka. Like, even Stanley Tucci wasn't good. This was his worst performance I've ever seen. The film was just bad. There was really, really stupid things happening in it. And I don't quite know how else to talk about this film, to be honest. It's just not good. So 95 is a little independent film called Iron Sky, The Coming Race. This is the second film. This is all the money that was got for this film was sent in by fans of the first one. This isn't like a proper studio Hollywood film, which is pretty cool. The only actress in it that people might know is Emily Atack, who was in the In-Betweeners British comedy TV show. She also went on I'm a Celebrity, and I think she won it. I think she might have won it. I'm not too sure. I don't really watch that show anymore. But yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid. You're on the moon. The Earth is deserted. There's dinosaurs and space Nazis on the moon. Hitler's still alive. This film was never going to be that good, really. Let's face it. It wasn't. But whereas the first Iron Sky was funny bad, this one is just kind of bad. But, hey, it's a laugh. Okay, 94 is going to another Netflix film. This is Polar, starring Mads Mikkelsen, who I'm a huge fan of. I love this actor. Some of the things that I've seen this guy in, you know, I'm always going to go back to Casino Royale. He's fantastic. So I really wanted to watch this film for him. And this film has a bit of an identity crisis. It doesn't know what it wants to be. There are some fun action scenes in there, and he is a bit of a badass, but the editing is not great, and it is quite off-putting at times. So with that said, Polar, it's just another throwaway Netflix movie, unfortunately. The Highwayman is a film that got bought out by Netflix and was something I was really excited to see. It's about the story of the two cops in America who went after Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie and Clyde, you know, a really interesting true story. I've always been kind of fascinated by them. So I was really excited to see this one. It stars Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson. There we go. See, but the old mime was going there. Two fantastic actors. And unfortunately, the film is just way too long and very, very boring. There are some massive pacing issues with this film. Massive pacing issues. And it really could have been cut in half. And if it was cut in half, I honestly think it might have made the top 50 because the sets are beautiful. The acting is really good. There are some really good things in this film. It's just, it is way too long. And as I say, pacing issues, there are real issues with this film. So here comes the real controversial one, because I know some people out there absolutely love this film. And I'm very sorry to those people who love this film. I respect this film for what it is. The cinematography is beautiful and the score is fantastic. But I really hated watching this film. It was way too long for me. And it's one of those very it is very unique. I will give it that. Midsommar is a film that is very unique, but I don't know how to describe this film. I just didn't connect with it at all. I tried to watch it a second time and couldn't get through it. I got through it the first time. I did watch the whole thing. I just didn't connect with any of the characters. I didn't like the story. Yeah, I just didn't like this film. Really didn't. I found it a bit intimidating almost at times. But yeah, Midsommar, I get it. People love it. Props to you. I just don't. And I'm sorry. So this one here might be a little bit controversial as well, because I know that there are some people out there who like this film, but I've seen a lot of people bashing on it as well, so maybe this one isn't going to be as bad. Pet Sematary. Yeah, I just wasn't a fan of this film. I was watching it, and I'm someone who actually hasn't seen the original, and I know I'm going to get battered for that, and I will watch the original. Haven't read the book either, of course, by Stephen King. I do love Stephen King now. I think he comes up with some incredible stories. Of course, I think there's 3 Stephen King movies on here that we got to talk about today. So, but the first hour and a half of this film really didn't do much for me. It was just pure build and setup. And it did build on the main family quite well, but all of the horror aspects, all the bits that I wanted to see happen in literally the last 10 minutes. And all the way up to then, there's just not really much happening. And unfortunately, it's just a very, very forgettable film for me. So here we are at 89 even. 90. God, a bit early for my mind to be going in the video, considering we've probably got like another hour here, or more. Here's the one I was mentioned at the start, Unicorn Stores. This was shown at a film premiere, film festival in 2017, but was released to the public on Netflix in 2019. I'm certain Netflix bought this and waited until Captain Marvel's release in cinema, because it came out literally a couple of weeks after that, because it's starring Brie Larson and Sam Jackson. Now, I like Brie Larson, I do. I love The Film Room, and we will be talking about Captain Marvel soon in the video. And Sam Jackson's fantastic, but those are the only 2 good actors in it. There are some, the other actors in this just feel very empty. Half of them feel like they don't want to be there. The film is just not edited well. It's not, the pacing is just not good. The story, it leaves you as confused as Brie Larson's character's friends in this and her family. And I feel like by the end there should have been more explanations than what there actually was. And yeah, by the end I was actually just very confused and very disappointed. But hey ho, Unicorn Store. So 89 is The Aftermath. This is one of 2 Keira Knightley films which I watched this year. Keira Knightley just always kind of puts out these films quietly, it seems. The Aftermath is set during the war. Not sure what year, probably early 40s. That's when it would be. It's an interesting film. It's a love story kind of thing. I don't know, it's just a very, very forgettable film. It's not terrible. I think we're past the terrible films now. It's just very soulless, I think. And, as I say, I think forgettable just sums it up nicely. So, 88 is going to Captive State. This is a film which looked amazing from the trailers. The budget for this film was a decent size, where the effects looked fantastic. The cinematography was really good. John Goodman's in it. I'm a big John Goodman fan. I love John Goodman. And unfortunately, this is again falls into the same category as Aftermath, where I just forgot about it like instantly after watching it. It just, again, this film also has terrible pacing problems. And the story is kind of messy at times. Captive State was a real disappointment to me. So after seeing the trailer for that one, I had quite high hopes, but so coming in at 87 is Between Two Ferns, the movie. I know nothing about this film. There are probably some big fans of this out there that are going to slate me here because it says Between Two Ferns, the movie. So I'm guessing there's a TV series here? I don't know. I've never heard of this. All I know is it's starring Zach Galifianakis. I think I might have actually got that one right. Who people know from the Hangover films. And Due Date. And what else has he been in? Oh, he's in a Lego Batman movie. And some other bits and bobs, you know. And I thought, yeah, I'll give this a watch. It's on Netflix. I like him. He normally makes me laugh. I put it on, and I think I laughed once, maybe, at this one. There was one scene in it where I laughed. I found it way too over the top. It was really American for me. I'm not saying it's a bad film. I'm not saying that, like, American comedy's bad. American comedy can be amazing. But I don't like that really over the top American comedy. And this is one of them. So just a personal taste issue there on this one. So Between Two Ferns, number 87. So now coming in at number 86 is The Night Before Christmas. Now this film in itself should probably be in the bottom 3. I know. It's terrible. It's about a knight who's... I can't remember whether he served under King Arthur or just another random knight or something like that. I can't remember. And he gets sent to the future and he falls in love with your average day American woman played by Vanessa Hudson. And it is cheesy as hell. Every year Netflix insists on releasing a terrible Christmas film. And it's so bad, it's really enjoyable. Don't get me wrong, it's 86, so it's not, you know, I'm not going to praise it too much, but it's so bad, it is kind of fun. And that's the best way I can describe this film. Wonder Park, 85. Yeah, this is, I don't really want to be too harsh on this, because again, it's animated, it's for kids, but, it's just not a very good film, really. It's the animation itself isn't great. None of these characters are fleshed out. And it's... I don't even understand what was happening here. And I get it, it's for kids. It doesn't need to be anything, you know, too great in terms of story and character development, of course. But when you got animated films like Toy Story coming out, you know, it's still hard to say that this film's that good. 84, Murder Mystery. Now, I was planning on ragging on Adam Sandler at this point in the video. But then another film come out with Adam Sandler in. just after Murder Mystery, which we're also going to talk about later on in the video. So I don't want to be too harsh on Adam Sandler anymore. But he always likes chucking out a really crappy comedy film. Murder Mystery, that a lot of people were hyped because he was reuniting with Jennifer Aniston. Personally, I'm not a Jennifer Aniston fan. I'm not a fan of her acting. So I was not hyped at all. But the rest of the cast was fantastic. There's some really good actors in it. And it come out and it was just kind of fluff. It was exactly what I expected. It was another Pixels level of Adam Sandler where it's like, yep, okay, that weren't very good, but it weren't terrible. Like most of his films, really. Okay, so 83 is The Hustle. This is starring Rebel Wilson and Anne Hathaway. Two actresses who I can be a big fan of. Anne Hathaway is fantastic in nearly everything I've seen. I still always go back to that scene from Les Miserables. Fantastic. So, yeah. And Rebel Wilson can be funny. But this film was just... It felt very forced. Everything about it. There was just the character... the connection between these two actresses was just terrible. They didn't connect well at all. It was hard to root for them at times, and they were kind of unlikable for a lot of the film. And put that on top of just an average comedy film, then there's not much to go with. Oh my god, we're only at 82, but here we go. It's Rambo Last Blood. Some people are going to really like this. Some people love Rambo. Now, I binge-watched all of the Rambo films out of this neat little set here I picked up to get ready for Last Blood. And you know what? I enjoyed 1 a lot. 2 was okay. Didn't like 3. Really enjoyed 4. So I was ready for the new one. And this film sucks. Like, it's... Sylvester Stallone is not playing Rambo in this. He's just playing your average Sylvester Stallone action hero. Doesn't feel like Rambo. It feels like Taken. And yeah, I just didn't enjoy this film. It didn't feel like Rambo at all to me. I bet some of you were looking forward to seeing how low this one went. Charlie's Angels. This is directed by Elizabeth Banks. I've got no idea why. And she's also in it alongside Kristen Stewart and Naomi Watts. And I forget the name of the other actress because it's like her first big film. Somehow Patrick Stewart is in this mess. This film is just terrible and awkward the whole time. None of these characters kind of fit together. The dialogue is diabolical. The action scenes are not very good, and the acting is just... Naomi Watts is the only one out of the 4 lead actresses giving a good performance here, which is a real shame. I did kind of want this film to be good, but hey, I think they were just hoping all-female lead cast, that'd get us enough money for a sequel. Don't think so. So Hellboy has been the easy target this year. People have just been putting it dead last. Easy peasy last place. I put it 80. You know what? I've enjoyed it obviously more than all the films above it. But like people have been putting it lower than like just looking at the big films that we've gone through so far, like Rambo and Charlie's Angels, Murder Mystery, Cats. People have been putting it below some of them even. And it's like, you know what? The story is terrible. The story is ridiculous. The acting is not very good. Other than David Harbour, he does a really good job. And the CGI is only a mess in the last act, I think. But it's kind of fun. I didn't hate this film as much. I think probably because I had such low expectations on this one from people already destroying it, that when I went into it, I was like, you know, don't get me wrong, it's not very good, but it's not terrible. I've seen worse. And I don't hate this film. I think it's fine. It's fine, I guess. 5. So The Kid Who Would Be King. This is King Arthur. This is a modern day adaptation, and it's a kid's film. It's come out very early in the year, so I'm trying to go by memory here. But yeah, Merlin's in it, played by... I don't know the young actor's name, but again, somehow Patrick Stewart's in this. He's been in some weird stuff this year. It's okay. Again, we've hit that point in the list now where I'm like, these films are okay. We're past the bad films, I think. These are your kind of average films now. It's a kid's film. Take it for what it is. It's nothing to go shouting about at all. But it's not bad. It's just kind of there. And it's like, yeah, it entertained me. But I have no reason to ever go back to it. Kind of the same thing for this film as well. 78, Dora and the Lost City of Gold. Now, when I was very young, I did grow up with Dora, okay? I watched it. There we go. I got it off my chest. So I had a lot of temptation to see this one. And I wanted to see how they done things like Swiper and Backpack and the map. And how they done it was kind of hilariously bad, but I had a good time. Somehow they got Michael Pena in this film. It's starring Isabella Macere? Something like that. I can't say her name, I'm sorry. It's a Hispanic name. But yeah, she's in it. She's from, she was in Transformers 5. She was in another big film recently as well. But I can't remember what it was. And this film is produced by Michael Mann. You can kind of tell by some of the dialogue. But, yeah, it's a kid's film. Yeah, it is what it is. Meh. So the next one up is Isn't It Romantic? Again, this is just a romantic, you know, it's a rom-com. It is what it is. Although I kind of like it in a way. It's better than most rom-coms I've seen in recent years because it actually kind of takes the piss out of rom-coms. Rebel Wilson is very funny in it. I did laugh at her a few times. Liam Hemsworth steals the show though. He's great in it. It's nice to see him doing some good stuff because I feel a bit sorry for him getting shortchanged in all these films compared to his brother, Chris. But yeah, you know, it's okay. If you want an hour and a half to kill, easy watching on Netflix, it's a good time. It's fine. '76 is Happy Death Day to You. I never saw the first one, so I had to rewatch that before I watched this. I think the first one is slightly better. This one kind of goes for a more comedic route. I love the lead actress in it, whose name I've forgotten. I didn't put it down on my notes, I'm sorry. It's really dumb. Really, really dumb. Like how one of her friends creates that science experiment in it that kind of messes everything up. Really stupid. But you know what? It's a fine film. I wasn't bored. I wasn't angry. I was just... It's okay. It's a fine film. Okay, so next one up, 75, is X-Men Dark Phoenix. I didn't think this film would be good, and, you know, I think I was kind of right. I really wanted to like it because I love First Class. I loved Days of Future Past. I wasn't a big fan of Apocalypse, but I was hoping, because I think we all knew this would be the last one, kind of hoping, yeah, okay, let's just end it well, and then we can give X-Men back to Marvel, and they can go to a better place. But no, they kind of messed it up. It wasn't that great. You could tell that the film was very choppy. You could tell that the film had been changed a lot at the end. The dialogue wasn't very good. The special effects weren't great. Some of the acting, Jessica Chastain gives maybe the worst performance of the year in this film. It's okay. I didn't hate it, but it's easily one of the weakest X-Men films out of all of them. Maybe the weakest. But then there is Origins. High Flying Bird is a film which I've kind of forgotten about because it was very early in the year that it was released on Netflix and a lot of people were raving about it at the time. I say at the time because I don't hear anyone talking about it anymore. Yeah, it's an okay film about basketball. One of the Stranger Things kids is in it. And yeah, that's about all I have to say on it. It was okay, but I've forgotten a lot about it. Maybe this one should have been a bit lower in the list considering I literally remember barely anything. But hey-ho, High Flying Birds. I saw it, and 74. It's alright, I suppose. '73 is Lying and Stealing. This film I had a lot of fun with at times. At times it was really interesting to watch. But then at other times, this film has a real... This is the biggest suspect out of all the films I'm talking about today that's done this. It has a real identity issue. At the start, it feels like it could be a crime, and then it kind of feels like it could be a horror. Then there's a bit of comedy in there, and then it's action, and it's like, I don't know what this film's meant to be. I don't know how to feel about this. And unfortunately, the two lead characters in it, they're not developed very well. However, it's okay. It is entertaining at times. So Men in Black International 72. This might actually get my most disappointing film of the year, because I don't think it's that hard to get Men in Black right, sorry. I don't think it's that hard to get to do a good Men in Black film. The other three have all been decent. Simple. Somehow they made this film really boring, and they have some amazing actors in it. Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, absolutely, they flow off each other so well, which we know from Thor Ragnarok. Liam Neeson's in it, Rebecca Ferguson's in it. You've got a really good cast here. And the effects were good. Visually, it was fantastic. The cinematography was really nice. A lot of the colours and stuff were popping nice. It was just really boring, which is a shame. But as I say, I didn't want to put it too low, because I love these actors and they all did a good job. And the visuals were very, very cool. But, yeah, it was kind of boring. Illumination Animation's entry this year is Secret Life of Pets 2. I had a feeling this would be an improvement over the first one. I think it is slightly, because the first one, for me, the real issue I had with it was a complete rip-off of Toy Story. This one feels a bit more original, but at times it's like they separated a lot of the characters in this film, and you can tell that half of them they didn't know what to do with. It almost felt like I was watching a mini TV movie. I think that's what this would have been better as a TV movie. And yeah, and then it focuses on some other characters that you kind of care about, and then it goes away from them again for a while. And it does that a lot, actually, which is a real shame. But, hey, God knows how they got Harrison Ford for it. So number 70 is Let It Snow. This is another one of those Netflix Christmas films that I watched. The only Netflix Christmas film I didn't watch was Claus, which was apparently a really good one. So I've done something a bit wrong this year. Let It Snow is starring Isabella blah 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 Dora, who we talked about. Kiernan Shipka is in it. Who was in The Silence, that we spoke about, and Sabrina. Yeah, it's a good, okay film. It's nothing to go raving about. Again, it's kind of, we're still in that period of just decent, okay films. This actually suffers from the exact same problems that Secret Life of Pets 2 suffers from, funny enough. You've got a whole bunch of young actors here, and you look at the poster and you can see it. There's like 10 to maybe 13, 14 kids here, or, you know, young adults that you're meant to focus on. And some you care about and some you don't, and it keeps flip-flopping between them, and you're like, oh my god, I forgot that this person was in it. Oh, we're going back to them, really? Oh, I care about this one. It's a lot of that. And unfortunately, it really damages the film. If they'd taken just 2 of these plot lines, or 3 of them, it would have been a lot better. So, yep, number 69. Ha ha ha. So, this film here might be a bit controversial as well, because some people really like this film. In fact, I think Chris Stuckman put this in his top 10 films of the year. I think, I could be wrong. And here it is, quite low on mine. So, Official Secrets is a recent true British story, starring Keira Knightley again. And she gives a great performance here, much better than she did in The Aftermath. And Matt Smith, Doctor Number 11. Yeah, it's okay. Again, this film, it's pretty good, actually, I will say. But I'd say we're getting into good films now. We've gone from okay to good here. The issue with it is they've based it off a true story, so they can't really change it. I mean, I suppose they could. I mean, there are a few true stories that get changed for film, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that we'll talk about soon. But the ending is just very unsatisfying here, unfortunately. So, Official Secrets. Brightburn, produced by Mr. James Gunn. This is Evil Superman. This is what Justice League should have been. This is what we should have seen in Evil Superman and Justice League. Don't get me started on that film. I don't even want to talk about it. So I was really excited to see this film. I really wanted it to be amazing, and it was just good. I didn't dislike it. Obviously, it's 68. It's not terribly low. It's a bit forgettable. You see a load of cool stuff at the end, in the end credit scenes. And as I was watching that, I was kind of thinking, maybe this should have been more what the film was. Maybe then it would have turned into Chronicles too much. I don't know. I just think I wanted more from this film. The trailers never led on that we were going to get more. So this is me just being me. I just wanted more, I think. But some of the deaths, man. Ooh. They were gory. '67 is going to Greta. Now this is starring Chloe Grace Moretz. I think that's how you say her name. Fantastic actress. The first 2 acts of this film were really good. Like literally probably top 50, maybe even top 40 level. And then the last act lost me. The last act was a bit of a mess, and it got a bit unbelievable and bit silly, which was a shame because I really enjoyed this film. I liked that whole stalking thing. It had my nerves going a lot of the film, and really, if it wasn't for that last act, this could have easily been a top 40 film, but they bottled it. So 5 feet apart. Every year it seems like you get a film like this, like Fault in Our Stars and that kind of stuff, and you got to take them for what they are, kind of like a lot of the films that we've spoken about so far. Like, you've got the kids' films, you've got to take them for what they are. Rom-coms, you've got to take them for what they are. Same thing here. But this film was very innocent, very nice. There was a couple moments in it where you're just a bit like, oh my god. There was a couple little bits at the end which were a little bit far-fetched, I think. But overall, this was a very interesting film. And if you really get invested in these kind of films, it's probably going to rip your heart out a bit. '65 is Ma, starring Octavia Spencer. Now, this is a film which I was really looking forward to. I thought this looked really good. And it come out, and I kind of felt just a bit underwhelmed with it. All of the horror aspects kind of happened at the end. Same problem I have with Pet Sematary, but I just connected with these characters a lot more. Found this scenario a lot more interesting because it's something that actually happens in the world. I kind of find things like that a bit more interesting with horror, when things can be real, when they make you think more. I think they're the kind of horror films I like, when they make you think more. Pet Sematary definitely didn't do that. The film, anyway, not going to criticise the original or the book. But Mud did a bit, but as I say, a lot of the horror elements that they were teasing in the trailer, again, just happen at the end. So now we got 6 Underground, which is Michael Bay's film, and oh my god, you can tell it. I remember when the film started, the first act is a chase scene, starring Ryan Reynolds, of course, Dave Franco, and there's a few other people in it. And the chase scene's cool. I was like, this is nice, I like it. The dialogue is terrible, though. And I was like, you know what, I don't mind, I can live with that. But then the next act is the same thing. It's fast-paced acting, all chopped up the same. Big explosions, boom, 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 American flags everywhere. And I was like, oh my god, I know who directed this. I know who done it. And I looked on IMDb and I was like, sure enough, Michael Bay. It's fine. Like all the other Transformers films, it's fine for the first half hour. You're like, this is fine. I can get over the crappy dialogue. This is fun. But after like 2 hours of it, oh, your head hurts a bit. Next up, we have Gemini Man. I know a lot of people probably think it should be lower. I've got to give him respect for the visual department on Will Smith here, making the young Will Smith. Although the scene at the end, for those of you who've seen it, is terrible, and he looks awful. However, for the rest of the film, he looks pretty damn amazing, which is probably why he's always shown at night, because it's so much easier to do de-aging at night. And the story was holding me to a certain point. I lost my way a few times in it, but it always do something to bring me back in. Although I found the ending was real original Rambo First Blood kind of rip-off. Cold Pursuit is Liam Neeson's film this year. I really do enjoy Liam Neeson films for some reason. They're kind of a guilty pleasure. This one, I kind of like the fact they put a comedy twist on it. And I think people would have enjoyed this film at the cinema, but of course I'm sure some of you remember Liam Neeson got in a bit of trouble earlier this year. And I think that's why the film probably didn't do very well. But hey, I thought the film was okay. I had a good time. Earthquake Bird is another Netflix film which came out later on in the year, starring Alicia Vikander, who is Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider. I believe we're getting another one of them in 2021. Quite looking forward to that. And this is another one of those films which really makes you think. It's, from the word go, you're on edge. You don't quite understand what's going on. You don't know if this is in her mind, her overthinking stuff. You don't know if it's this character being weird or whether the people around her are actually as messed up and weird as she thinks they are. And at the end, you find out. And it's good. There's some pacing issues. But overall, it's enjoyable. I like the fact that this film really had me thinking for the whole film. Like, are these people around her weirdos or is it her? I really couldn't make my mind up. So The Red Sea is another true story set in the 80s about a group of Americans who went over and rescued some Jews and who were trying to get them out of these horrible places. Blah, blah, blah. As you can tell, I don't know much about it. But it's starring Ben Kingsley, Chris Evans. This is Chris Evans' first film after his sad departure for now from the MCU. So I really wanted to see this, and I can say Chris Hemsworth gives a great performance in it. The film has pacing issues, I'm not going to lie. It's not edited fantastically. But I was invested in this film for the most part. I did have a good time. So, Red Sea, worth a watch. Now, I had a bad feeling about the film from day one because I'm personally not a Tim Burton fan. There are a couple films of his which I like, but for the most part, not for me. Dumbo didn't look great from the word go to me. Not Dumbo himself, I mean the film, overall, the trailers. And I walked out of Dumbo going, yeah, that was okay, it was good, I enjoyed it. But it's not like, because I think the last one we had before that was Beauty and the Beast and Jungle Book, and it's like, well, they were just a lot better. The actors are all good, all round, but the whole feel and the look of the film, it's not a massive fan of that Tim Burton style, but it's Dumbo. I love Dumbo. Love the original. So I couldn't put it too low because it was still enjoyable enough because I love these characters. '58 is always Be My Maybe. This was a comedy film which came out on Netflix and people were just raving about it, raving, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll check this out. It just kind of come out of nowhere. For like a solid 2 weeks, people were just talking about it a lot, and it's kind of been forgotten a bit. But I watched it, I had a good time with it, it was very funny. Really connected with the two lead characters in it. They done a really good job with them, and of course, Keanu Reeves in it. What a man. Absolutely loved his parts. Really good. Professor and the Madman is one of Mel Gibson's 2 films which I saw this year. Acting. Don't think he directed anything this year. It's a true story about the creation of the Oxford Dictionary, and I know that sounds super boring. And early this year I was trying to watch a few films, and there was nothing on, and I was like, do I really want to sit through this? I read the description, the creation of the Oxford Dictionary. I was like, I don't really want to sit through this. What the hell, I put it on and I had a good time. It was enjoyable. You really connect with these characters. It's just really, some really fascinating stuff actually happens in it. And there's a couple scenes between the Madman and Natalie Dormer's character in it, and I just found them fascinating. So, The Professor and the Madman, a surprise. Surprise. Terminator Dark Fate. The trailers for this one didn't really do much for me. I was just kind of like, oh, yeah, new Terminator film, whatever. I hope this one's good, because the last 2 have just been so bad. I really want them to get it right, because T2 is one of the best films ever made. And Dark Fate, it wasn't terrible, but it does the worst thing a film can do, in my opinion. And it makes the old ones irrelevant. Because everything that happened in T2 was for nothing. Nothing. Because it all gets undone, and everything kind of still folds out the way it does in this one. And even worse, they kind of axe off all your favourite characters, and they just add new ones. Why? So, it's not a terrible film. You take it for what it is. You sit down and watch it. Just kind of blank mind, go, right, forget about the rest. It's okay. It's watchable. But to the Terminator fans, this is a really terrible film. Good Boys. This is a film produced by Seth Rogen. I love Seth Rogen. He's probably my favourite man in American comedy right now. So he has 2 films out this year. We'll talk about the other one later. This one he just produced. And it was funny. It was. I didn't think it was hilarious. I don't think it's one of his best. But it's funny. I had a good time with it. It is... Yeah. I don't really have much to say about it, to be honest. I don't have any problems with it. I laughed a few times. Yeah. Good Boys. God, I don't even know how to talk about this film. The Beach Bum, starring Matthew McConaughey. There's a lot of big actors in this to start with. Matthew McConaughey, Zac Efron, Isla Fisher's in it, Jonah Hill's in it. There are some big actors in this film. This is the strangest film I've ever seen, and it was so strange I had to find a copy of it on Blu-ray, and it didn't come out in the UK on Blu-ray. It's like the whole film he's just drunk and high, and he does really awful, terrible things throughout this film, and there are no consequences to it. I've never seen a film like it, and I don't think we'll ever see one again like it. It is bizarre, and I kind of loved it. And Snoop Dogg's in it, by the way. Almost forgot about that. '53 is cruel. Some people really hate this film. This film knows exactly what it is. It's a really dumb horror film, and it really is dumb. But it succeeded in being a horror. I saw this in the cinema on the big screen. I've seen quite a few horror films this year. This one made me shit myself the most. I was so scared throughout this entire film. I come out having a heart attack. It stars Kaya Scardellaro. She was in the Maze Runner films and the 5th Pirates of the Caribbean movie. She was really good in it. And you know what? This film knows exactly what it is, which is why I'm not being too harsh on it. It knew what it was, it embraced it, and that's why I don't think it's as terrible as some people are making out. Our first Disney Plus movie, and I'm pretty sure the only Disney Plus movie, like original movie that's on this list, Lady and the Tramp. I like the original a lot. I think it's a really good time. This one here, it's also really good. It suffers from a lot of the problems that The Lion King suffers from, which we're going to talk about soon, where these animals show no emotion. And I know some people are going to go, it's meant to be live action, they're animals. Animals don't show emotion. The Lion King animals showed emotion to a certain extent, and it works really well. So I don't know why Disney just didn't keep doing that format. But, hey-ho. The voice acting was great. It was enjoyable. It was enjoyable. So yeah, Lady and the Tramp, good first Disney Plus film. Abominable is number 51. This is a film which I think everyone just thought, it's going to be a throwaway movie. And it come out and it was like, oh, it's actually decent. Starring Chloe Bennett, who people will probably know from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, it's a kid's film. It's kind of dumb, but it's fun. It's enjoyable. There's nothing in it, though, really, that makes you go, but that's really stupid, like Wonder Park. That's the difference between this and Wonder Park. They're both aimed at very young audiences. But whereas Wonder Park does really stupid things, this one you can kind of roll with it to a certain extent. And things do kind of get explained. Don't get me wrong, there's a couple bits in it where you go, it's a bit silly. But overall, it's a good time. We've reached the halfway mark, and we have our first MCU film to talk about. We got 3 this year again. We were very lucky with Marvel. And this is the first one that was released. And the first one I'm going to talk about, Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is a good film. It's paced well. The action is good. The acting is good. The story is engaging enough. What this film suffers from, I think, is a lack of character. It's like, you can always tell when you're watching a Guardians films, the colours are pop and it'll feel very spacey. You can tell when you're watching like the Russo brothers, if you're watching one of their Captain America films or the later two Avengers films, they feel very grounded and very real. This film, I don't really know how to describe this one. It's almost like the directors just got forced into making it. And the character of Captain Marvel, she's a lot better in Endgame, which we'll talk about eventually. But here she's really rude, and kind of unlikable at times. But hey, Ben Mendelsohn and Sam Jackson did a fantastic job. 49 is Detective Pikachu, starring Mr. Ryan Reynolds and Bill Nye. I was really looking forward to this film. I like Pokemon. I'm not a massive... I didn't grow up with them, that's the problem. But I've come to really like Pokemon, but I don't know loads about it. And this film was good. It was entertaining. It's not your classic Pokemon. It's not. It's very different. And I think that annoyed some people. Because I was very much expecting this film to be great and to be like top 5 highest grossing films of this year. Didn't quite get there, and I think that's because it didn't go with a typical Pokemon story. But it was good. I enjoyed it for the most part. I thought the last 10 minutes were a little bit rocky, but other than that, I had quite a good time with this film. Lego Movie 2, that's right, that did come out this year. I kind of forgot as well. That's the problem with this film. It is a bit forgettable compared to all the other blockbusters that have come out. However, it was quite good, the Lego Movie 2. I enjoyed it. What it suffered from was the creativeness of the first one. I think it's one of those things where they'd done it, and it was fun, and it's like, yeah, that was really good. Surprising, in fact. And then on Lego Batman, I think you just had the DC people who were like, let's have a look at that, and that was really good as well. And you had Ninjago, where you could tell people getting fed up because they didn't get great viewing figures. And then you've now got the same problem here. Lego Movie 2 didn't bring in a lot of people. And I think that out the gate, it was great. But now the dust has kind of settled on this franchise. And we'll see what I do for the next one. But I still thought it was an enjoyable film. It weren't great, but it was enjoyable. I liked it. So then here we got 21 Bridges. This is Chadwick Boseman, who of course is Mr. Black Panther. This is probably his first big solo film outside of the MCU. I'd say probably, it definitely is. So I can tell, you can kind of tell that he probably want to do something really serious here. It's produced by the Russo brothers as well, I believe. Pretty sure they didn't direct. They might have directed it, actually. I'm not sure. You guys will have to let me know in the comments below. I didn't put that in my notes. I'm guessing they were still very busy with Infinity War and Endgame while this film was probably being shot. But it's good. It's really gripping at times. The issue I had with this, I found it a bit predictable. You knew there were dirty cops throughout the whole film, and you could kind of tell which ones were going to end up being the dirty cops. But it was an interesting film, and I did find it engaging. Some of the action scenes were really good. So the next one up is The Lion King, which of course I touched on a minute ago with Lady and the Tramp. This film is good. It's visually, it's fantastic, and I love the original Lion King. It's my favourite animated film ever. So this film wouldn't have been super low because I love that story. I love these characters. However, this is a scene-for-scene remake almost. There's nothing original about it. One of the things which I love about the Jon Favreau's Jungle Book is that there's some originality in it. There's some differences. Jon Favreau, for some reason, went completely the opposite way here. Just done scene for scene, even some of the transitions, and they just don't work on live action as well. And of course, you really struggle to connect with some of the characters because there's no emotion in their faces. For example, the bit where Mufasa dies and Simba's crying, you can hear it in the young actor's voice that he's crying and he's upset, but he just looks exactly the same as he always does. And again, I hate to say it, I think the voice actors all did a really good job, especially Donald Glover. Beyonce didn't, no, not a fan. But I prefer all the originals again. Bit of a shame, that one. Alita Battle Angel. Some people really hate this film. I thought it was quite entertaining. It tried really hard to set up a sequel though, which it's not getting. So this is very famously produced by Mr. James Cameron. I'm not a big James... I love James Cameron's work, don't get me wrong. I think he's fantastic. But I think he comes across a bit cocky. It's a really good film. Some of the visuals in this film are incredible. There are a couple bits which look a little bit off, though, I think. And so I think people are giving this one a bit of a free pass because it's James Cameron. But it's engaging enough. I really love the character of Alita. And Christoph Waltz is in it, and he's amazing. He's, you know, don't even tell me he's not. I wasn't really sure whether to count this film, Guava Island. It's an Amazon Prime film, and it's like 55 minutes long, so I don't even know if it counts as a film. I wasn't sure, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to chuck it in anyway, because I really enjoyed it. So this is Donald Glover's film, where it's a mini musical. It's really good. Rihanna's also in it, starring alongside him. And you can feel tension throughout this entire film. From start to finish, I was sweating for this guy. I was like, oh my god, what is going to happen? It's really engaging, really powerful film, and the acting in it is superb. And I really like the songs. Other than This Is America, I'm just not a rap fan. But other than that, the songs are really enjoyable. I Am Mother is a Netflix film which came out. And again, this is one of those films which I think Netflix is a good place for it, but I still really enjoyed it because obviously it's 43. The visuals in this film are fantastic. The cinematography is beautiful. Had some pacing issues, but the 3 lead characters in this I absolutely loved, like really loved. And again, the end of this film, the last 2 acts probably, I'd say, I was panicking for the lead actress in this film. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was scared for her. And yeah, works really well, this film. Really good. Anna is a film that came out, and everyone seemed to hate it. It came out and people were just trashing it. And I was thinking, oh god. Finally, I decided to see it, and I don't know whether it's because I went in with super low expectations, but from the word go, I was into it. Don't get me wrong, it's nothing special. It doesn't blow me away by any means, but I was really enjoying it. Lead actress in it, Sasha Loss. I've never heard of her, never seen her before. She was really good in it. Luke Evans was in it somehow. He was also really good in it. And yeah, the film just captivated me. I thought a lot of the sets and the costume designs were fantastic. The acting was really good. The action scenes were fantastic. Yeah, it was just, I suppose, just some pacing issues here and there as well. The story had a couple silly moments, but other than that, it was quite an enjoyable film, I thought. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I obviously liked it because it's at number 41, but I also found this film disappointing because I love the first Godzilla. I love the one by Gareth Edwards from 2014, maybe? I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So this one here, I was really looking forward to it. I was a bit worried when I saw the cast because I was like, oh my god, Millie Bobby Brown. Don't get me wrong, I don't dislike her. I think she's a fantastic young actress. Bit over the top on social media, but I thought, oh no, they're going to focus on the humans too much. And that is the problem with this film. When you're watching the Titans go at each other, it's fantastic. Visually, it's beautiful. Action is great. They look amazing. But they cut to the humans so much, none of their stories make sense. None of their characters are developed. And they do some stupid, awful things in the film. This film is this high purely for the Titan stuff. The Titan stuff is great. And I know some people are probably going to go, well, just ignore the human stuff. The human stuff takes up like 60 to 70% of this film, which is ridiculous. I really hope they don't make this mistake on Godzilla vs. King Kong. Zombieland 2 is a film which I was really looking forward to because I love the original. I've known the original for years. And I'm not going to lie, none of the trailers wowed me, and I actually just come out and said to my mates, I said, I think this film's going to be bad, probably. And I walked out saying, there was some really dumb stuff in that film, but I really enjoyed it. I understand, the first one is obviously better, And there is some stuff that happens in the last act which is stupid beyond belief in this world that they've created. But these characters are so fun. I love all four of them. The new additions to the cast are fantastic as well. It's just a really fun time. And I'm not going to take this film too seriously. It's really fun. It's a comedy film anyway. Hey, Zombieland. Gotta love it. So here's a film which I started a bit of controversy with when I done my review of it a couple weeks ago. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Again, I'm just going to quickly go over this one because I've reviewed the entire thing. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I stuck up for The Last Jedi. I begged people to go see Solo. I love the prequels. I grew up with them. I've watched all Clone Wars, Rebels, played the games, Battlefront and Fallen Order. I've read the comics. I'm actually reading one right now. I'm reading the Vader Dark Lord of the Sith. I've read the novels. I love Star Wars. It's my favourite thing. I've got a huge poster of it on my wall right there. Love it. As a film, it's okay, this film. I don't think it's great. Obviously, it's 39th. It's not a great film. There are major pacing issues in this film. Major pacing issues. There's it's probably the weakest looking Star Wars film out of the Disney ones, I think. There's some visuals which are a bit off. But it is an okay film. It's enjoyable. It's fine. As a Star Wars fan, this film does exactly what Terminator Dark Fate done. It makes the originals irrelevant. And it kind of craps on a lot of Star Wars lore, which I like to think I know a good amount about. I don't, and it's really unfortunate. I love Star Wars. I really wanted this film to make my top 20. I did. I really did. And I sat there in the cinema really trying to like it. And I thought the first two acts were fine. There was dumb stuff there, but they were fine. And the last act was just so bad that I couldn't bring myself to put it any higher than where it is. Star Wars, I love you, Star Wars. But you did trip up at the final hurdle, I'm afraid. And I'm very sorry. So I didn't write the entire title of this film down on my notes, so I'm going to try and do this off the top of my head. Extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile? I think. Starring Mr. Zac Efron as Mr. Ted Bundy. So the guy who made this film done an incredible documentary for Netflix on Ted Bundy, and now he's made a film. And I think it's not about the murders, it's more about the court cases and stuff, and his wife. And I found it very fascinating, so I didn't know loads about Ted Bundy. But I found a lot of enjoyment in this film. I thought it was very interesting, fascinating to watch. I thought Zac Efron gave one hell of a performance, and it shows how great of an actor he is, and can be. He's come far from High School Musical. Really, really good film. Enjoyed it. It, no, it's it, isn't it? It Chapter 2. I was very excited for this film. And again, I'd put this on that same level of Star Wars and The Lion King, where I still find this film enjoyable, but it was disappointing to a certain aspect. I think the first film is definitely better. This film has major pacing issues as well, being far too long. This film could have easily had half hour to maybe even 45 minutes cut out of it. The thing to take away from this is Pennywise, Bill Skarsgård, I think that's the guy who plays him, I think. I'm getting names mixed up in my head. I should have written that one down. He's amazing as Pennywise. Amazing, amazing, amazing. That man is not getting the credit he deserves. Literally, he should be going up for awards for this. He's fantastic as Pennywise. The problem is, again, you know, and the characters don't really gel together as well. The first film is definitely better. But It Chapter 2. It's still a good time, but it's a bit disappointing. People are probably screaming at me, like, this should be lower. This isn't a good film. This film, Hobbs and Shaw, Fast and Furious, it knows exactly what it is. It knows it's a cheese fest of modern action, and it's that type of film which old classic cinema lovers hate, and it embraces it. It embraces it so well that it's so fun. When I watched the original Fast and Furious when I was younger, I did not think that drag racing would end up as super soldiers trying to just I can't remember what his plot was, what his plan was, to be honest, but it was probably involving destroying the world of some sort. And these two huge, muscly, bald men would go up against him. I love Jason Statham. I think the man is class. Love The Rock as well. This film was really enjoyable. It was dumb as hell. It was really dumb. But it was really fun. So, hey, I had a good time with it. So this is another film that was shown at a 2018 film festival, I believe, The Upside, starring Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston. And it's a film which I wasn't sure if I was going to watch, but I did watch it, and it is a beautiful film. It's one of the most underrated films I've ever seen. And I can't talk about this on enough. It's got a lot of heart, a lot of warmth. It's the best performance I've seen Kevin Hart give. Bryan Cranston is just amazing in it. This is a film which, if you were like me, a bit hesitant to watch it because it didn't look like anything great, go check it out. It's a really good film. Whew, okay, we're getting there. God, it's getting a bit warm in here now. Dragged Across Concrete. This is a film which I saw no one talk about, but the few people that did told me it was amazing. And they were not wrong. So this stars Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn. Two actors, Mel Gibson kind of forced to. Vince Vaughn chose to, who have taken a completely different turns in their careers lately. And I love what both of them are doing. This is a really good film. The dialogue, exposition, the writing of this film is incredible. There weren't much happening there. Again, I think this film probably could have had 15 minutes taken out of it, probably, and it would have been a bit better. But it didn't really matter that much in the end because I was so fascinated with watching these two characters go off each other. I thought it was really entertaining. Some of the scenes at the end were just brutal, and I kind of loved it. So it's a film which went under the radar a bit, and this film was in my top 20 at one point. But last couple months, there's just been some really good films, which is, I've knocked it out slightly. Missing Link is the only stop-motion film I saw this year. And I really liked it, starring Zach Galifianakis again. And Mr. Hugh Jackman, his only film this year I've seen as well, which is a shame. I mean, he was doing his tour this year, which I got to see him on, to be fair. So that was fun. But I'd like to see another Hugh Jackman film. I do like Hugh Jackman. Visually, stunning. Stunning, beautiful, incredible. Story, silly, but nothing that I can't work with. I liked it. I thought it was fun. Really enjoyed this film. If you can't tell, we've got into those films where I'm actually really enjoying these ones now. So Missing Link's a really good time. Dolomite Is My Name. So this is, of course, it's kind of like The Disaster Artist, just not quite as good. It's starring Eddie Murphy. Dolomite was a film which came out, I'm not sure when it came out, I think late 70s, early 80s maybe, something like that. If I'm wrong, someone's going to correct me. And it's known to be one of the worst films ever made. Like The Room. It's not as bad as The Room, though, I'll tell you that much. And whereas The Room had The Disaster Artist made of it, showing the making of that film, this is very much the same thing. This Dolomite Is My Name is the making of Dolomite. It's not quite as good as The Disaster Artist, but it's entertaining. Really good. Eddie Murphy gives an incredible performance. I love the fact that Eddie Murphy's coming back. I really do enjoy him. He's got a couple films coming up, which I'm very excited about. I love this man. He's so good in this role. It's really good. The set designs are fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And there's just some really entertaining parts of this movie. And the ending's really nice. I like this film a lot. And it's a Netflix, so if you have Netflix, honestly, check it out. Glass. This is a film which people really seem to hate when it came out, and I was one of the few who went, kind of liked it. Don't get me wrong, the ending is not very good at all. Not very good at all. But you got to think this is a low-budget film. M. Night Shyamalan is the most untrustworthy director in Hollywood. He tricked us. He gave us a few good films at the start of his career, and then gave us a load of crap. Then we got Split. Split was really good. And this is combining Split and Unbreakable. We've got Bruce Willis, Sam Jackson, James McAvoy. and they're all really good in this film. Bruce Willis doesn't seem like he wants to be there half the time. But I love the first 2 acts of this film. I think it's really cool watching these characters all go off each other. They all kind of know they're there in other cells. I thought it was really entertaining. And that alone would have maybe put it in the top 20. But then the last act kind of brings it down a bit, unfortunately. But I'm one of the few defenders of Glass, and I enjoy it. I think it's a good film. Triple Frontier was a film which came out very early on in the year for Netflix. And it was really good. It was really good. I was hooked for this film from the word go. It felt very real. Load of big actors in it, from Oscar Isaacs, Ben Affleck. And it was just very, very entertaining. Felt, as I say, felt very real, and at times you really connected with all the characters as well, and you really wanted all of them to make it out of there. And it's a film worth watching. Again, another Netflix one, so if you got Netflix, it's definitely worth a watch. I'm a big Beatles fan. I love the Beatles. People who know me from my other channel, my music channel, Rockboy680, you'll know I love the Beatles. I've got the box set of all their albums. I've got originals of all their vinyl. I've got all their solo stuff, and McCartney's got a lot. So I love them. This film was really exciting for me. I was really excited to see Beatles music on the big screen, because we had Queen last year and we had Rocket Man, Elton John, a little bit earlier on in the year. So I was really excited finally the Beatles were getting their time on the big screen. And this film was really good. Really good. The ending, there's a little... I don't want to spoil it, but there's a bit at the end which is just, it really got to me. And it's one of the few times I could feel my eyes swelling up a bit at the cinema this year. The issue with this film is, because there's one issue I have with it, and it's a big one. The lead character is very unlikable. You don't really root for him. He's not a very good actor. It really bogs the film down. It really does. Take him out of it, put a more likeable character in there, a better actor, all over it. Probably would have been a top 20, but hey ho. Ad Astra is a film which was originally a lot higher in my ranking, but it has slipped down a bit purely because I don't know how to say this. I think it's got the slow moments in it work well because it's out in space and it's trying to capture that feeling of you're all alone, lost in space. Hey, that's a TV show. But it also makes me want to not watch it again because it's a long film and there are real slow moments where not much is going on. It plays in the film's favour, but in terms of rewatchability, it doesn't do it for me. However, it's visually stunning. Brad Pitt is amazing in it. The score is great. And overall, it is a really good film. I'm not going to knock it. It just, rewatchability has taken this one down a few steps for me. Long Shot is the other Seth Rogen film I wanted to talk about this year. This is a film which I was like, yep, another Seth Rogen film. I look forward to it. I probably won't love it, but hopefully I enjoy it enough. Did end up loving this one. This was really good. Seth Rogen with Charlize Theron, another actress who's definitely way out of his league. We know what you're up to, Seth. This film was so good. It was so funny. There were moments where I laughed out loud like 3 times. Him and Charlize Theron, they play off each other so well. The side characters are really good. At no point was I bored. It's a really engaging film and one of the best comedy films I've seen in a long time. Storm Boy is a little Australian independent film which was released very early on in the year, starring Geoffrey Rush. And I can't think of the actor's name. He's known to be a terrible actor and I don't like him. He was in Suicide Squad and Terminator Genesis. You guys will probably know his name. It's just not coming into my head at the minute. And I've never seen him give a good performance, but he gives a good performance here. It's the first time I've seen him do good acting. Geoffrey Rush is fantastic, of course. True story, believe it or not. And I fell in love with this film. This film is so adorable to watch. It's absolutely rips your heart out. And I just really connected with this film. I thought it was just really, really nice, pure and innocent, and I loved it. Beautiful Day in the Neighbourhood's a film which I got to see early with my unlimited card, starring Tom Hanks, of course. True story. Tom Hanks gives an amazing performance in this film, without a doubt, he is incredible in this film. A lot of the set design was really good as well, really good. I loved all of the characters in it, this family that you follow, which apparently is also, this part of it was true as well, not just the fact it's based off a real life person, but this family's story was true as well. I thought it was incredible. Felt a bit uncomfortable at times, but I think that's because of what Tom Hanks's character was like in real life. He kind of looked at the camera, and obviously he was a children's TV show presenter. But I think as an adult watching it, when Tom Hanks just looks into your soul, literally stares right at you, and then but it worked well, and I enjoyed it. It was a good film. So this film and the next one, people are probably going to be like, nah, they're stupid. They shouldn't be this high. They are stupid films. This one is stupid. But I had such a good time with it. Jumanji: The Next Level. It's not quite as good as that first one. It's not. It's nearly there, though. It's really enjoyable. I love these characters. I love them. Like, because I, believe it or not, hadn't actually seen the first one. Well, second one. I've seen the one with Robin Williams, obviously. I hadn't seen the first one. So I was really, really skeptical going into it. I had to watch the first one, obviously. I did watch it before I saw this one. I love these four characters, and the new additions were good as well. There was some silly stuff in it, and you've got to take this film for what it is. They go into a video game, for Christ's sake. If you could just forget... This is one of those films where you can just literally sit back and forget anything normal and just have a good time. Because that's what this film is, and it's really fun. And it's kind of the same for this next film. So yeah, Aladdin. A lot of people hate this film. I thought I would too. The trailers were awful. Will Smith looked terrible at first. And then it come out, and I had a blast in the cinema with this one. I've watched it like 5 times since it come out. I love the songs in it. I think they're great. They actually add to the originals a bit more. Will Smith done a great Genie. Fantastic. The lead actors were really good. The only one I had a problem with was Jafar, the villain. I thought it was a really good film. I don't get why people hate this. It's dumb and for kids, yeah, and there are bits that don't make sense. But you are watching a live-action Disney film. Nothing is going to make sense in any of these, to a certain extent. But it was really fun. I had a really good time with it. So, Aladdin. Why is this not in your top 10? Everyone is putting this in their top 10, and I'm not, because I like being different. I'm joking. I loved The Irishman. I did. I watched this in one go, one sitting. I found it very, very entertaining. It is too long. It definitely is. I know that it builds upon these real, I was going to say characters, but they're real life people. These real life characters. It builds on them so well, and you feel so invested and connected to these people that I suppose you can't take time off, or else you feel less of that. However, when it's just dialogue for nearly 4 hours, it comes in like 3 hours 35 minutes, I think. It gets a bit. There's a couple bits around the middle where I remember I kept looking or stopping it on my TV, seeing like, okay, still an hour and a half, carry on, boom. The performances are incredible. Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, and Robert De Niro are all absolutely fantastic. Martin Scorsese continues to prove why he's one of the best in Hollywood. It's a very entertaining film. I did really, really enjoy it. Sorry it's not in my top 10. I really did love it, though. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is Quentin Tarantino's 9th film. I was hyped for this film. I really couldn't wait. Quentin Tarantino has made 2 of my all-time favourite movies ever, Inglourious Basterds and Django Unchained. I absolutely love those 2 films. And also, really like Pulp Fiction as well. That's also a fantastic film. So I'm very hyped for this one. Leonardo DiCaprio is one of my very favourite actors. Brad Pitt, also absolutely fantastic. And Margot Robbie, up and coming actress. Well, she's not up and coming anymore. She come out of nowhere about 3-4 years ago in The Wolf of Wall Street and then Suicide Squad. Fantastic, love it. But yeah, the only issue with this film is I was very invested in everything, but this film has some amazing scenes in it. The last act is incredible, but there's a lot of filler in between. And unfortunately, the film's trying to trick you the whole time. For those of you who have seen it, you know that where you think you know where they're going, especially with Margot Robbie's character. Then they do a twist at the end. But unfortunately, it makes all of Margot Robbie's scenes kind of pointless on rewatch. So there are some beautiful scenes in it. There really are. It's just bogged down by some filler, unfortunately. But I really like it. It's number 20. I really like the film. It could have been better, though, for Quentin standards. So here's a film I forgot to talk about while I was filming this. I accidentally skipped over it in case the light is different. How to Train Your Dragon 3. Hidden Kingdom? Hidden World? I have the Blu-ray here somewhere. The Hidden World. There we go. So yeah, really, really good film. Really good animated film. How to Train Your Dragons with Shrek are my favourite animated films outside of Disney and Pixar. So I love this film. It was really good. I really don't have anything bad to say about it. The characters are all really good. The voice actors all do a great job. The visuals are fantastic. The only issue is that this one does feel very similar to the second one in terms of structure and plot. And very similar to the first one. They all kind of fall into that trap of feeling very same in terms of how the plot is structured. But overall, a really good film. The Peanut Butter Falcon, starring Shia LaBeouf and Dakota Johnson. This was a really, really good film. This is a film which I wasn't sure on. I saw the trailer and was like, I'm not really sure about this film. But I remember putting it on and just getting so invested in these characters. The cinematography in it was really nice as well. Yeah, it was... I don't really know how to talk about this one, to be honest, because it was just all character-driven. And you just got so invested in these characters... that they carried the film along. They did. Because the story was kind of average. But you felt so invested with these characters that it was like, yeah, this is really good. Here we go. MCU film number 2. Spider-Man, Far From Home. Some people got a proper bee in their bonnet for these new Spider-Man films, didn't they? I love them. I think they're great. I really enjoyed Homecoming. Really looking forward to this. And I actually put this on the same level as Homecoming. Don't know what one I think's better. I love the story. It's what happened after Endgame. It's Spider-Man coming to terms with the death of Tony Stark. Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal, amazing. So happy to have Sam Jackson in this film as well. He was really, really good. The story was just really good. I was really gripped. I don't really have many problems with this film. It was really entertaining, and for the most part, it made sense. It was just really, really good. Shazam 17. Oh my god! A DCEU film that's doing well in the ranking. DC, I'm not the biggest DCEU fan, I'm not gonna lie. I liked Man of Steel a lot. I thought that was really good. Wasn't a fan of Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad. Wonder Woman was good. Didn't love it. I absolutely hate Justice League. Aquaman was good, but didn't love it. This one I kind of do love. This was so innocent. Zachary Levi is perfectly cast as Shazam. It was really fun. Really enjoyable. And my favourite DC EU film was Man of Steel. And I'm not sure if this one's better. It's kind of like, I don't know. I really like them two films a lot. Shazam was innocent, really fun, really great. From start to finish, I was just entertained the whole way. I really don't have many bad things to say about it. I thought it was really, really good. So I don't know much about WWE. It's not my thing, personally. Get why people do like it, of course. Very entertaining stuff. But I didn't have much respect because I always thought that a lot of it was fake. I think to a certain extent, some of it is fake. But this film made me realise that it's not all fake. And the story behind this character from WWE called Paige, of her, the real life story of her going from being just a British wrestler to massive megastar in the WWE was fantastic. This film gave me so much more respect for WWE. This film entertained me like hell. The actors in it are fantastic. Lena Hardy's in it. Nick Frost's in it. Dwayne The Rock Johnson is in it. Only on a small part, but of course they plaster him all over the posters because, you know. But this film was so entertaining, and you feel for this girl. You feel for her so much. And by the end, you really want her to succeed. And it's a very, very good film. Shocker alert, I'd never seen The Shining, so I had to pick The Shining up on Blu-ray, which I'd done, watched it, obviously loved it, it's a great film, and then got to see Doctor Sleep, and Doctor Sleep was not what I expected. It really doesn't feel like a Shining sequel till the last act, but I really love that. The first two acts were gripping, engaging. It was a little bit long, a little bit too long, this film. That's the only problem, because there's a few pacing issues in the first two acts. But it's really good. You're really engaged. Ewan McGregor, hello there. What a man. This guy is incredible. Rebecca Ferguson's in this as well. She's also really good. And the last act is just fantastic. I loved it. I really, really enjoyed this film. I thought it was really good. It's not going to go down as a classic, unfortunately, like The Shining, but it is a very worthy sequel. Booksmart kind of come out of nowhere, didn't it? I didn't know. The posters for this make it look like such a generic film, and the trailers also do the same, but this film was gripping. Like, the two characters, the two lead actresses in this, the characters that they were playing, I've never felt that attached. I think that's the most I felt attached to a character, maybe, out of all the films I've seen this year. Those two characters, by the end of it, I was rooting for them. I was like, please, you know, I don't want to see them go through any more bad things. I wanted to see them succeed. And they were so well written. This film is a thrill ride from start to finish. There were no moments in it where I was kind of disappointed or let down. It was just, yeah, it was just really good. We're at that point now where I don't really have many bad things to say about films. These are just really solid films. Booksmart was awesome. So Joker is a film which everyone seems to be putting at number one. And I'm not doing it, so I'm sure some people are going to be like, that should have been number one. But anyway, you know, 13 still pretty damn good out of 100 films. So Joaquin Phoenix gives one of the best performances of the year. This film is paced so well. The cinematography is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. A lot of the choreography in it is fantastic. The lighting's great. The last act is amazing. The story's good. One issue I have with the film is I don't think it has very good dialogue. Literally, a lot of the characters feel they have to tell you how they're feeling a lot of the time. And I feel like people are giving that a bit of a free pass because the film is obviously getting this huge acclaim at the minute. But it's a really good film. As I say, it's 13th. It's a really good film. But I think these other films are better. So then, number 12 is Rocketman. I've seen some people put this like super high on their list, and then other people are just kind of like, it's mediocre. I think this film works really well for me because, number one, I love Elton John, especially in the 70s. That's when he's at his best for me. So the fact that it's mostly set then, it's like, okay, that's one brownie point. And then the fact that they didn't make it like Bohemian Rhapsody, because I wasn't the biggest fan of that, where it was more like it was a biopic. They kind of went more musical, which I'm much more of a fan of. It's like, there's another brownie point for you. So, and Friday Together, you got a really good film. It's paced well. They pick really good songs. Taron Egerton he's amazing. He sings all the songs as well. Incredible. I really, really loved this film. Really did. I think easily one of the best ones out of these, like Bohemian Rhapsody and Yesterday and all those kind of ones that are doing all these classic rock artist music at the minute. Probably the best one. Really enjoyed Rocketman. So just missing out in the top 10 is The Lighthouse, which I'm pretty sure Chris Stuckland put as his #1 movie of the year. You know, The Lighthouse is the most unique film I've seen this year, without doubt. Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson are absolutely fantastic in it. And yeah, it feels like a 1960s film. And I'm not saying that because it's black and white. I'm saying it because of the lighting. The lighting makes it look very old-fashioned. The dialogue, even though that it is a very strange film, but the dialogue helps as well. The acting, some of the exposition in it makes it feel very, very old. But it's so unique and I loved it at times. There's a couple moments where it went a little bit too weird for me, a little bit too pretentious. Almost going into that Midsummer range where I was like, oh no, this feels really pretentious. But it only done that like a couple times. Not like Midsummer where it's like it for nearly the whole film. For me personally. But it was really, really good. Really entertained. It gripped me. Didn't know how it was going to end. And how it did end was a bit of a shocker. So I really enjoyed it. Here we go, top 10. Now I'm going to go through these a bit quick. So as I say, I'm going to do a whole video fleshing these top 10 out for people who don't want to watch this whole video. Because I don't know how long this video is going to be. My camera don't tell me. But I know I'm well over an hour. Ready or Not was fantastic. Samara Weaving, I'm pretty sure is how you say her name. She kind of looks like Margot Robbie a bit. So yes, very attractive. Stars in this film. It's a horror film. I didn't really know what to think. I think I just love films where they're in big mansions and they're enclosed. It was just really, really entertaining. You're rooting for this character like crazy. You're scared for her. It was really funny as well. There were some really funny moments in it. Ready or Not is just a really, really solid film. Number 9 is Uncut Gems, and here we are. We're finally talking about Adam Sandler again. Feels like ages since we were talking about him. Oh, wait, that's because it was ages. His best performance, without a doubt. I've seen every Adam Sandler film, I believe. Yeah, there was a phase that I went through, okay. Without a doubt, his best performance. You feel for him so much here. You are tensed up for this entire film, and by the end of it, you're sweating with him. You're like, oh my God. Oh dear, oh God, just get out of this. The man keeps making mistakes, and stop doing that. You get angry at him at times. But the film is just paced so well. The acting is just top notch in this film. The storytelling and the dialogue is just incredible. And it's a really great film. Marriage Story is a film which, again, I put it on and was just immersed in these characters almost instantly. Probably because it's two of the best performances this year. And I think if Adam Driver doesn't get Best Actor, then something's wrong. I really think he deserves Best Actor for this film. Scarlett Johansson was also incredible in this film. They carry this film. Their acting is fantastic. The story is heartbreaking, and I'm someone who has not experienced divorce. Like none of my parents are together. My grandparents are all together. I'm someone who has very little experience in that. So I think for me it was very like, oh my God, this is insane. But I loved it. It was a fantastic film. Everything about it just worked well. I don't have a bad thing to say about it. Great film. Number 7 is John Wick Chapter 3. Who said these films were going to stop getting better? I probably did say that at some point, I'm not going to lie. But wow, these films just keep getting better. This is my favourite one so far. There's a couple over-the-top bits in it, but, at this point, who cares? This is what we're here for. We're here for these over-the-top action sequences. The action in this film is filmed so well. This is the best action I've seen in any film this year. The action in this film is filmed better than any other film. Without doubt. Keanu Reeves is fantastic in it. Really entertaining. The last act is just incredible. The last act is just fantastic. Just super fun. Number 6, Toy Story 4. That's right. Pixar. Hello. Little bit of biasness, I grew up with Pixar. grew up with Toy Story. I was one of the people saying, no, don't do a fourth one. Please don't. The third one ended so well. Guess what? They topped it. I really think this is a really nice ending. It really is. We said goodbye to Andy in number 3. And then in this one, I don't want to spoil it, but it ends on a... It's like, okay, that is really the ending. That is really nice. The animation is beautiful. There's a scene with this cat in it, which just looks fantastic. All the voice actors do an incredible job. And it just captures the heart and the warmth that most Pixar films do. And it captures the Toy Story warmth and heart, whatever, the loveliness. This doesn't make sense. I've been filming for too long. But it captures it really well. And you love it just like you love all the other Toy Stories. Number 5 is Jordan Peele's Us. Now, this was my number 1 film at the start of the year. And then another film came out. It sat at number 2 till literally